to the
Good
show.
morning. Thank you very much. And it's good to have a chance to speak with you.
Always lovely chatting with you, Craig. And thank you again for taking the time. So, for our viewers who may not be familiar with you, if you can please talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're doing currently.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Craig Alter, and I currently lead the North American Consumer Insights for Perfetti Van Mel. And that's probably not a company name that many are familiar with, but we have brands that people know. So we have brands of Mentos, both mints and gum. We have Airheads, we have Airheads Extremes, we have Chupa Chups lollipops, we have Frutella. And just recently, we had an acquisition of Mondelez's gum brand. So we now have Dentyne, Trident, Bubblicious are now a part of our company. So we're based in Amsterdam, and I am based in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we have a North American headquarters and plant near Cincinnati. So we have brands all over the world. We have a lot of brands that are sold in other countries and different continents that we don't sell in the United States. But my responsibility is North America, and so the brands I mentioned are the ones that I work on. I've been at Perfetti Van Mel since December of last year, so a little under a year. I had been in healthcare just before that in a consumer insights role, and I've been in food, and I've worked for a long time in eyewear, so I know that business fairly well. So been in some CPG companies and started out doing some finance and marketing roles, but I've kind of landed in consumer insights over the last 15 plus years. And it's been a good switch to candy, gum, and mints because that's a fun category. It's different than healthcare or eyewear. It's very different, but it's fun. It's a fun business to be a part of, and I do really the full breadth of market research. So quantitative, qualitative, really all types of market research methodologies and tools. And I get the opportunity to work on our base business, but then also new product development, which is what I love. And that's what I was missing in healthcare is that innovation work stream. So that's really fun for me. And I'm in as you could probably guess, a shared service. So I touch a lot of parts of the organization. I work with marketing, I work with R&D, I work with sales and customer planning, with media, e-commerce, and so get to work across all of our brands. And so that's a fun place to sit.
Thank you, Craig. That's a wonderful introduction. And you talked about fun. And how fun are those brands? I mean, those are brands we grew up with, so I think this will bring back a lot of memories for viewers who grew up on brands like that. And you now get to guide and direct them. So that's a great fun place to be.
It is. It's, I think everyone enjoys working in this category because it's fun products. It's fun to work on innovation, and it's candy, gum, and mints is a fun category, and we've done well throughout the difficult years of COVID and a down economy. It's a relatively inexpensive treat that consumers didn't start cutting like in a lot of higher dollar categories. So we were somewhat recession proof in a way. From a down economy, from the years of COVID, we were able to still grow, do really well. It's just one of those unique categories that consumers still wanted to have those relatively inexpensive treats.
Very true, Craig. So Craig, let me ask you this then, from given your rich background with CPG, healthcare, and now in your current role, when your leadership approach you and say, hey, great job, what are they counting on you for?
I think more now than ever is insights that are easy to digest and relatively short, and are they actionable or meaningful? So I think it's I've seen this trend over, the last 10 years that shorter is generally better. So, is it easy to understand? Do I get the story quickly without a lot of effort? And at the end of the day, are those insights something I can do something with? Are they impactful to our business? Are they really going to be actionable and meaningful? So, I think that's where I kind of land anymore, whether you're talking to a marketing vice president or the CEO, have you packaged the learnings in a way that feels like it's in a slide or two, they're going to get what the learnings were and what they can do with them.
Thank you for mentioning that, Craig. This is a challenge that I see a lot of researchers also face. How do we make insights actionable? How do we move the needle? How do we ensure that our work impacts, the organization and the customer in a positive way? So I think these are definitely challenges that all of us face, in guiding both internal and external stakeholders. You mentioned earlier that you have a very cross-functional role where you're guiding different teams and product, sales, marketing. Can you talk a little bit about the types of challenges that you are typically faced with when guiding your internal or external stakeholders?
Well, I think, for example, in the current role that I'm in, we sell in a lot of different channels. So the products can be different. Communication can be different. What messages or information is necessary per channel is something to consider. We sell on Amazon, and then we're selling in all of these in-person channels. We sell to grocery, to mass merchandise, to club stores, to convenience stores, dollar stores. So in each channel, there's going to be different sets of brands and different pack sizes and types, and so possibly different purchase cycles for consumers too. What you might buy at a Costco or Sam's, in a bigger, bag or box is going to be different than what you stop in at a convenience store and grab kind of as an impulse item. So, and I think different demographics buy at different channels. So you have to be aware of that, as who typically shops at a club store versus buys their candy and gum mostly from dollar stores or convenience stores. So I just think all of those factors are at play in our business, which makes it a little challenging. You have to stop and think about all of those places, all of those channels that consumers can see your brand, touch your brand, consume your brand from, and are your messages appropriate, and are the products you have on the shelf appropriate for that channel? So that's something that I've noticed that's a big change from healthcare, is all of the different channels that our products sell in.
Very true, Craig. And I think especially our viewers who are in CPG or in your world will definitely connect with your comments over there. Understanding consumer journeys, their paths to purchase is so vital in your business. And I know you are a big proponent of that. For our viewers as well, everything that you talked about, I think is so critical, especially when you are living, breathing in an omni-channel space, like you are. Let's talk a little bit about, what you do in terms of understanding your consumers, especially given, the omni-channel space that you operate in. Can you talk a little bit about any customer journey projects that you've done, how you went about it, what was the need for it, and what was the impact or the results for your organization?
Yeah, I will go back to my days at Luxottica because I was there 10 plus years and we did plenty of customer journey work. So at Luxottica, in North America, there's brands that are business units that consumers are familiar with, like LensCrafters and Pearle Vision and Sears and Target Opticals, and we had Sunglass Huts. So very familiar business units. And the eyeglass category is interesting. It's a somewhat long purchase cycle, and it kind of has one foot in the medical space and then one foot in the fashion retail space. So we would often, with customer journey work, we would start with focus groups and kind of get a qualitative sense, and then I follow up with quantitative studies. And it was always interesting to try to understand in a long purchase cycle how you make the decisions where to go. So when you, for example, break your eyeglasses, or you feel like you aren't seeing as well as you should, or maybe you need to get an annual eye exam near the end of the year because your insurance allows that. So then how do you make the decision where to go for the eye exam? And then when you get there, how do you make the decision of what features to get on your glasses? Maybe technology in your lenses or coatings. And then what style or brand do you get? Do you care about the brand? Do you want it to be Ray-Ban or Oakley or some name brand, or are you more geared towards price and wanting a lower price pair? And then so how does advertising affect that process? Where do you go and get information? Consumers would tell us, like, well, when I'm in that need state of, I think I need to go get an eye exam, a lot of people reached out to friends or family. It's an interesting category that friends and family recommendations played a huge role. But they might go to a brand website. They might think, oh, I'm going to go, I've heard of LensCrafters. I'm going to go to lenscrafters.com and see what I can learn. Can I schedule an eye exam there? What are their hours? That sort of thing. I might do a Google search. And anymore, maybe I go to social media, or maybe I've been exposed to some of their digital marketing ads or an email that I've received. And, maybe I have past experience going there and I'm on a stream of communication. Or maybe I've seen a print ad, or maybe I saw a television commercial. So what are all of those things in play, and how do they affect the consumers in that journey? Does an individual need a coupon, or do they even know if the place they think they want to go takes their insurance or not? And then how do they find that information? Do they call? Do they go to the brand website? Do they Google it? So I think it's interesting in long purchase cycles to understand all of those different levers that are in place in an important decision, such as buying eyewear, where you've got kind of some insurance medical thing happening. And then you've also got, like, oh, maybe I just want a new look or style for my face because I love to swap them out every year and I want a new brand or a new color of frame. So that's the type of work that I remember well from my days at Luxottica that I thought was really interesting.
That's a wonderful example, Craig. And you put out so much gold in that example that I want to double click on a few items. I don't want our viewers driving by what you said quickly. So to put this in the journey vernacular, what you talked about, Craig, was really, how do you understand a consumer's journey, especially when it is happening in an omni-channel space where there are a lot of key drivers at play that are impacting the end customer or the consumer. You talked about how there are these, what we call as these key moments of truth. What are the key things that they're looking for? And then how do we get them that information through advertising, or what impacts them? These moments of truth, Craig, as are so important. The example or the analogy that I like to give, our clients is, think of these key moments or these moments of truth as sort of the connecting points where one journey stage of the customer connects to the next journey stage. Sort of like the Lego blocks that we all played with as kids. And these moments of truth, Craig, as you know, are so critical because they're transformative. They change. When a key moment of truth is not focused on and addressed and understood by an organization, and if you don't give the customer what they're looking for in that stage, that moment of truth transforms into a pain point. If you give them what they want, then it becomes what we call as a peak point. And, sometimes, Craig, the guidance we have to give our clients is sort of putting them in the mindset that the customer is not part of your business journey. You are part of the customer's journey. And if you don't focus on some of these key moments that you highlighted in your journey, Craig, in your example, what happens is the customer experiences that pain point with you. And as a result of that, they sometimes move on to the next stage, holding someone else's hand. That's a key entry for competitors to come in. That is also a key entry point for you to grab market share from competitors. But at the same time, if you do give them what they want, then and you're able to convert that moment of truth into a peak point, then they move on to the next stage holding your hand. And if this continues all throughout the journey, what you get is a brand loyalist, a customer that stays with you. What I'd like our viewers to imagine is when you're going into your retailer or you're buying online, imagine yourself with products where you have blinders on, right? We all have those key brands that we've bought into. And every time I go into a Costco or I'm shopping online or I go into a Walmart, if I'm looking for that particular brand, whether it's for my coffee or my aftershave, my shaving cream, whatever it is, I do not even look at what's going on at the shelf level with a competitor. They may, for all I care, be giving away their products for free. But if I've bought into that brand, then I'm a loyalist. Another way to look at this also is that if you have these brands where you have these customers that are loyalists, what that tells me as a journey expert is that you've spent a lot of time in really understanding the journey for those shoppers. And anytime I see a lot of couponing and packaging that does not make sense going on, or couponing that's hurting the bottom line for a client, my guidance is, I think you need to spend time understanding your customer's journey. So I just wanted to, pinpoint a few of those items that you laid out, Craig. Also, another thing that I want our viewers to understand is the way you highlighted your experience, Craig, in that particular case study. I thought that was really great because by understanding not just the complete journey, but looking at it over time, can also, yield very rich dividends in not just understanding what's going on with the customer in their journey when they do business with you, but it also throws out a lot of key insights on what we call as, how are the pain points affecting the business? One cool exercise that we like to do, Craig, with our clients is designing these projects for impact. And the way we look at impact is both business and financial. So if you look at it in terms of pain points, if we are uncovering a customer's journey and we're encountering all these pain points, one cool thing that we like to do with our clients is focus with the customers on, hey, so you've got this pain point. What action or step are you going to take as a result of this pain point? And sometimes, customers surprise us. They tell us, well, I'm not really getting what I need And so I will either move on with a competitor, or I will reduce my purchase with this particular organization. Well, the next question that we ask them that a lot of researchers don't is, okay, let's quantify this financially. How much will you buy from a competitor due to this pain point? Or how much will you reduce our order due to this pain point? And now imagine getting that rich insight across all journey stages of the customer, right? And so now you've got the pain points, you've got the business impact, and you've also got the financial impact, of each of those pain points. And now imagine, Craig, at the start of this conversation, we were talking about how do we make results actionable? How do we, guide the organization, accurately? And for our viewers, I want to highlight, imagine sitting in front of your leadership and you telling them what the pain points are in the customer's journey, what you need to do to alleviate those, what is the business impact of those, and then you're also quantifying it in terms of the financial impact, whether it's revenue leakages or cost leakages. But imagine being able to tell the story to your senior leadership from that facet, where it's no longer, hey guys, I think we should invest a couple of $1 million in fixing this pain point because 20% or 30% of our customers said so. But imagine talking about, if we don't fix this, this is the revenue or the dollar impact that this pain point is continuing to have in our business. So I get all passionate about this, Craig, because this is the world we live in. But when you said it, I wanted to just highlight for our viewers what is the immense benefit of looking at customer journeys the way you do.
Perfect. Yeah, I completely agree with all of your sentiments there.
Wonderful, wonderful, Craig. So, Craig, let me ask you, from your perspective, I know you've done a lot of journey work and you've really focused on understanding the customer. Hindsight is always 2020. If you had to go back and redo any of these projects or do them again, is there anything that you would do different?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, as you know, when you're doing customer journey work, just as you laid out, you're trying to be relevant when a consumer is thinking about purchasing. And is your brand top of mind and unaided awareness? Have you made the process of finding answers to questions easy? And are you strong in an omnichannel standpoint? Those are things that are consistent and will remain consistent. I think what I'm seeing now, the next time I would do customer journey work, is technology is changing so rapidly. So I think that you have to be cognizant of that the journeys are different for younger demographics than older demographics. I think about younger demographics being this huge, the Gen Z and such potential bucket of purchasers, and how comfortable they are with technology, and they're not used to waiting for things. So, I think being aware of the differences within different age groups will be important the next time. It's not going to be the same journey for someone who's 18 that's really comfortable with technology and is, on TikTok and always looking for information in places like that and doesn't want to wait for anything. So I think that's an interesting dynamic that's here to stay. And I think journeys are different in different countries. We sell where I'm at now, and it's a global organization. So I think be aware of the journeys probably different for someone in the United States versus someone in Asia. So, and how are those journeys different? So I think you have to be, even differences between US and Canada could be there. So think about that as you're going into the work. And I love quant and qual blending those together. So I'm always a big proponent of whether it's customer journey work or other types of research that have you thought through the benefits that you can get from qualitative and also from quantitative, and are you thinking of both approaches together? And I think AI is going to be interesting. I haven't had much experience at all yet in research using AI, but is there some role that artificial intelligence plays in a research plan, understanding customer journey, or really other types of research too? I think it'll be interesting to see the evolvement in that space. So those are a couple of things that come to mind.
Craig, I have to say, that's the fun part of talking to a leader like you, an expert like you. There is so much gold that comes out in a few sentences that I'm blown away. And I want our viewers to appreciate what you just said. So I'll double click on a few items. Yes, qual quant, blending it together, that is the way to go. I can't tell you and our viewers how many times we've seen not just journey work, but, business cases where multi-million-dollar decisions are being made, and they're being made purely on very few qual discussions. So, for our viewers, qual, yes, it gets you deeper in with your customer, helps you get a closer look. But as much as you can, quant is where you're able to put more muscle around those findings. So completely agree with you over there, Craig. Thank you for saying that. You talked about how journeys and consumer preferences are different, not just by age, by demographic, but also location and countries. That is something to really keep in mind, as you look at sort of this global shopper or global customer. And, we are big proponents of that as well. Anytime you can layer in any kind of segmentation or persona work, in better understanding your customer, that will always yield rich dividends. And what, I will also guide our viewers on is, if you have done persona work or segmentation work, then that's even better for you, because you already have some insights into your customer's journey, into who they are. Now, if you can just layer it up with a mixture of qual and quant, like Craig said, upon the persona or the segmentation work that you've done, then that will not only yield rich dividends with the insights that you get, but that's also the type of research that category leaders and market leaders routinely do. So great points over there, Craig. Thank you again for mentioning that. One final point that I'd like to add also is, for our viewers, as you look at understanding these evolving shopper demographics, like Craig was talking about, especially with the younger generation, or if you're looking at different markets, and as you get these, research requests from internal stakeholders, I want to tie everything back to Craig's starting point about how do we make results actionable. And sometimes the missing piece, or the part that needs to be focused on, is not how we will do the research, but really spending that time internally in understanding the what and the why. What are we trying to get from this piece of work, and why are we trying to do it? How will this move the needle? So for our viewers, I just want to add again, if you can clarify and be on the same page with your internal and external stakeholders on really the impact that you are trying to make with your work, and you follow along with all the tips that Craig has shared today, you can really transform research and the work that you do from just being data decks or data dumps to really being actionable insights that you can then leverage to guide your organization.
Yeah, well said. I completely agree. You and I are in lockstep on that.
Wonderful, wonderful, Craig. Well, thank you so much, Craig. I know we're at the end of our time. So again, I really appreciate you taking the time. Do you have any final comments for our viewers before we go?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to get a chance to come on your podcast. So thank you for that invite. It was good to have the conversation. I enjoy discussing, the challenges that us as researchers have within our organizations, and I think it's good to always be chatting with your network, talking about, what are the new technologies that are here. Artificial intelligence is obviously a big thing that people are talking about these days, but technology is really changing, the way that research is conducted, and it's evolving and changing. And so it's important that we're changing with it, and we're meeting consumers where they need to be met to gain those insights. So it's important to, I think, have those conversations.
You're absolutely right, Craig. Thank you again. It was a wonderful discussion, and I'm sure our viewers will walk away with a lot of good gold that they can hopefully implement in their businesses. So thank you again.
Thank you.